How's it going, everybody? Welcome to my channel and welcome to my review of John Krasinski's new movie, If.
Hi. Oh God.
This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. The trailers looked like it was going to tap into my inner childhood, and I have loved the first two Quiet Place movies, so everything was falling in line for me to love this movie and be in my top 10 films of the year. But sadly, this movie didn't work for me as much as I wanted it to. Now, on the surface, judging by the trailers, it looked like it was going to be a ripoff of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, which it really didn't bother me all too much as probably bothered a lot of people. I'm fine if you take inspiration from something else, even if it is a direct ripoff, as long as you're able to make it your own and give us something new, something refreshing, something that we hadn't seen before, then I was going to be pretty much fine. But under the surface, it's really a completely different movie than what is really being advertised. The main story for F revolves around B, played by Kaylee Flemings, that suffers a loss all while trying to mentally prepare for her father's surgery, surprisingly played by John Krasinski. And I say surprisingly because, quite frankly, he was not in the trailers or in any of the marketing. So seeing him appear in this movie and playing B's dad, that really surprised me because I didn't think that he was going to be in this movie. I knew that he was going to be voicing the little marshmallow that we see at the end of the teaser trailer, but I didn't think that he was going to be in a majority of this movie. And the majority of this movie is basically revolving around B and her dad. He's going into surgery. She's having a tough time trying to prepare for his surgery because she's afraid that he's going to lose him too and she's going to be out of parents. So, on some aspects, I think that is a natural hook for me in order for me to get invested in these two characters. The issue with this movie is the fact that I'm not able to buy these two as father and daughter. I was not able to feel the chemistry as soon as they were together on screen, and I think that is what lacks in this movie. John Krasinski, I think, is still a masterclass behind the camera. I think it's beautifully directed. The cinematography is great. The design of each imaginary friend, I think, looks great, and I really like conceptually what they were trying to go for. But for the first half of this movie, I was not able to get emotionally invested in this little plot that we're going on because while she's trying to get prepared for his surgery, she's able to see everybody's imaginary friends, and now she's kind of playing matchmaker with Ryan Reynolds, trying to find an individual home for these imaginary friends because as soon as their kid grew up, then they were basically left behind, and now they are trying to find a new pair, a new kid, in order for them to still be in existence. They don't really do much with the imaginary friends in here. I kind of wish they did a little bit more with them and got a little bit more creative in this imaginary world because as soon as we get to see where these imaginary friends are staying and where they're living, what a lot of them are, like you got a spaceman, you got a robot man, you got a unicorn, you got bubbles, you got an invisible man, you got basically everything in here. And I kind of wish we spent a little bit more time with the imaginary friends, getting to know them personally and seeing all their individual personalities because when they are on screen, that is when I really enjoy them. I think they all have such different unique personalities that I really enjoyed seeing. Just kind of wish that we had a little bit more of that. And I think Kaylee Fleming is a talented young actor. I think she is going to just go up from here because I thought she had a lot of charisma and I think she played well off of Ryan Reynolds. I really like their banter back and forth, and I really like what they were trying to go for emotionally. It just never really got me that emotionally hooked. As soon as we get to meet the late Louis Gossett Jr. playing Louis, the little bear that we see with Ryan Reynolds and Kaylee Flemings at the end of the trailers, I think he was the heartbeat of this movie, and he had some great lines that actually had me tearing up when we had those heart to heart moments. The issue with this movie is just basically in the writing. It's a little bit slow paced. They don't really do anything creative with this movie. It just feels like a safe kids movie, which I get, but when they were tackling the harsher themes a little bit more of grief and loss, I think that is something that could have been explored a little bit more if we didn't have John Krasinski as the dad in here. No disrespect to John Krasinski. I really like what he does behind the cameras. I was just not really emotionally invested in that dynamics, and quite frankly that is part of the things that really lacked for me a little bit more. I kind of wish it was more centered on these imaginary friends helping her get through a tough time and just seeing the beauty of life through these imaginary friends. But we go back and forth to the hospital and seeing her interact with her dad, and that is kind of where the movie started to lose pace for me. The pacing for this movie is a little bit slow, but it has its moments to be charming, and when it's charming, it definitely hits on all cylinders. But this movie really wasn't hitting me as much as it should have, and I was just a little let down with this movie. It's not a bad movie. It's not going to end up in my top 10 worst of the year, but it's fine. It's one that I'm probably not gonna rewatch multiple times or anytime soon. But if you want to take the kids to this movie, it's perfectly fun. I think they'll have a lot of fun with this movie. But for me personally, I'm going to go ahead and give If a 6 out of 10. A bit of a disappointment for me, but I still enjoyed what John Krasinski was trying to go for. I really liked the themes that he was trying to explore. Just wish we had a little bit more of that emotional hook in here in order for me to get invested in these characters. But this was just it's an okay movie. It's one that you're not going to hate yourself for, but it's definitely one that could have been a little bit more better. But those are my thoughts on If. Have you guys checked it out? Are you planning on checking it out, or are you just going to wait to stream it? Go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys for the next video.